Tropical Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome bay, with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, coming to you live today on South Florida Live, along with streaming on the Let's Eat South Florida Facebook group. We are happy to have back. I see the face. I don't know what the voice sounds like, but welcome back, Defo. How are you feeling? You're a broke down individual at this point. Can you detail all the maladies and remedies?
Well, I'm hurting from head to toe. Let's put it that way. Literally
head to toe.
The voice is starting to come back a little bit. I've had the weirdest. You thought it might be COVID-19. I don't think it's severe enough.
Or no?
The weirdest lingering cold.
Take a
Now,
test?
in the past, you get a Florida flu for the first time, and you realize, wow, it's impossible to shake this thing. Because just when you thought you were okay, all of a sudden you would get hammered there, and the 3 knockdown rule would be in effect. This has been the mildest thing. Was lingering for over a week. Then it kind of blew up on me last Friday, so I missed a couple of shows. They would have had to drag my dead body, for me to miss Gulfstream on Friday. I was looking very much forward to that. Was supposed to have a meeting with a friend of mine about some business that I was looking forward to also, and I had to blow that off. And this guy now is gone for 3 weeks. So it was really like the last thing I wanted to do was not make the show. But Lubie's aware of this. I used to work no matter what. I mean, I could have the most raging illness, and I would come in and try and do a show. And every now and then, I would come in and have no voice, and I didn't know what the first sound was going to be when I took the airwaves. Like the theme music would play like it just did, and then I didn't know if I was going to be able to make a sound. And then if something came out, Lubie would go, "Okay, we're good."
That's a win.
And we would hope it would be 4 hours, but the voice is coming back. The news on the toe is not so good. IR 4 to 6 weeks, 2 breaks in the big toe. And what we really need to find here on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, from the 94,000 people that subscribe to Let's Eat South Florida, is one good but unscrupulous personal injury attorney. Because
one of the
I want to own a piece of Atlantis for cracking my toe on the rocks that were hidden.
One of the rules of Let's Eat is no solicitation. So in
this case, I think it's
be an attorney.
He happens to be an attorney. He happens to know international law because we are dealing with the foreign
international
sovereign
nautical
territory.
law, because it happened in the water.
No, but you weren't more than 3 miles offshore. So this
I was about 3 feet offshore.
Right. So this is still considered Bahamian property and Atlantis resort, big deep pockets, which makes
with
for
the money they're
target.
charging for food down there, Mike Mayo, they could afford my lawsuit. But I mean, what could I sue them for? Loss of happiness, anxiety? The 3 days of vacation I got blown.
You are suffering now. You weren't able to make it out to some of your business meetings and your business dealings, your show. You can't hobble out to Gulfstream. Your walk of life, you could make it a hop of life, so you could just do it.
It's tough. My buddy, this is funny because we usually play tennis on a Monday night, and now I realize why I win all the time, because he has a real job.
Yeah.
And he comes straight from that real job where he sees like a dozen patients in the afternoon, and then we'll walk across the street to do a surgery, and then he schleps all the way from Margate to meet me at the tennis courts. By that time, the guy's got to be exhausted. He's my age. I couldn't even begin to fathom doing what this guy was doing, my friend Dr. Jerry Perlmutter. But he gave me this weird shoe to wear.
Well, you don't have a boot? He didn't give you an immobilization boot where you just kind of have an open-faced foot and you just kind of...
Go ahead. I mean, he gave me a shoe that like supposedly keeps your toe flat so that it's not bending to aid in the healing process. But I'm not wearing it around the house because, it's more awkward than the hood my dog was wearing for the last 2 weeks because she messed up her eye. So,
I
so we
remember-
look like the Wepner family over here. Mustang is sick today too. She's got the cold, so
Well, you got
it's a
the well,
disaster.
all right. Well, let's break this down. And first of all, it is nice to have you back. Even though luckily, as fate would have it, we had some guests lined up, and we were doing remote shows. And I don't know if you caught the Friday show at Gulfstream, but that cat Tommy Roberts, the guy who was the
Oh,
founder
I
of
like Tommy
simulcasting.
Roberts. Yeah, no, he started that whole thing with simulcasting, didn't he?
Yeah, no,
He's
but what
great.
a guy. He's almost 95 years old. He
Yeah,
puts
he's
us to
great.
shame because he's like
Still plays golf.
dapper, and he's playing golf,
Hides
and
himself
he's
everywhere.
driving around, and he has all these stories about Sinatra and playing tapes, and that he called the Secretariat's Triple Crown for the Mutual of America radio
Network.
network. I mean, I've never heard that call because all I ever hear is Chick Anderson. He's moving like a tremendous machine, but I'd be interested in hearing Tommy Roberts. Anyway, the dude was really nice, and it was
was
great
fun.
half hour with him, and then we got hit with some of the good new menu items that Joe Beja has come up with for the
Well, whatever
10
that
pounds.
thing you had the picture of, that looked great. Was
Yeah,
that
it
a
was
burger or something?
deconstructed.
No,
onion
it was
soup.
yeah, onion ring tower is like he calls it a deconstructed onion soup. So it's kind of got a base of like onion stock broth at the bottom, but it's
Onion
like an
soup.
onion ring tower of
Oh.
fried onion rings, and then it's
Cheese.
coated and topped with melted Gruyere and Parmesan cheese. And let me tell you, that was good.
That was
That was
You're
good.
not usually talking about melted Gruyere when you're talking about racetrack or stadium. Harry M. Stevens knew nothing about melted Gruyere.
Nope.
I can assure
The
you.
world has changed, my friend, and for the better in this case. And
Yeah.
no, and it was terrific because we were out there, and then I kind of basically gave out the trivia restaurant questions again on the group, and this time it generated a whole
It was
ton
massive.
of yeah, we
Did
had
you
like
rig that contest because that's very
No.
illegal in broadcasting. Although I've been a part of a couple of them, but
we're not broadcasting, we're streaming, my
Seven
friend.
seven people got the answer right and picked the right horse.
Yeah, so this is what happens when you put something out into a post on the Let's
We
Eat
actually
group.
got a
It got
lot of reactions.
7,000 views, and actually people sent in their correct entries before the noon Saturday deadline, and it's just a good thing that the favorite number 3 didn't win because it went from turf to dirt, and there was like 5 scratches.
You think these
So-
people all knew that was part of the
Well, it's in the rules that if you make a selection and your horse scratches, that you get to you get the post time favorite. If the post time favorite number 3 had won the race, we would have had like a 35-way shake. It would have been a little bit ugly. The 7-way shake was good because we had the neutral party, Pat Utter. I printed out every winning email.
Pat
folded
Utter
it up
won, and you're going to
neatly.
call that a neutral
No, Pat
party?
Utter did not win.
Oh,
Pat,
okay.
Pat Utter.
That would arouse
picked-
suspicion right away. I mean, with me.
He wants to win. He wants to enter the contest because he
love
loves going out to 10 palms at Gulfstream. But he reached his hand into the hat that had the seven winning correct answers, winning
pillbox.
entries.
Yeah.
And he got, appropriately enough, a guy named Reuben. And we all have Reuben sandwiches. We had a Reuben sandwich
Oh,
on
beautiful.
Friday. And Pat makes a Reuben sandwich at Shenanigans. And so anyway, that went well. And then yesterday was great because we were at Shenanigans, had a great time. Pat's great on the radio, by the way.
That's fun.
He projects himself cool. He wears his shades. We had Dave Hyde on. We talked a little bit about swagger. We talked a little bit about what's the opposite of swagger? Swooning. Yeah, that's the Dolphins.
Dolphins swoon.
Losing
Tanking.
3 in a row. Not
Yeah.
tanking. They're not
Not
tanking this year.
tanking.
They're just doing their usual. They're hobbling around worse than you at this point, Defo. So that's
I
where
don't know
we're at.
about that. I mean, OJ McDuffie. It's funny because I put a picture of this toe up on Facebook. I think both of you guys responded.
Yes,
And
it's-
OJ McDuffie, whose career was ended by a bad diagnosis of turf toe, and eventually copped a $13 million settlement from the team doctors from the Miami Dolphins. Even though he's still a favorite son of the Dolphins, he sued them successfully for the misdiagnosis of this injury, and he was sympathizing with me.
Well, what
I'm
you
like,
need
wait
to
a minute,
do,
this was a career-ending type of injury for you.
what you need to do is get OJ McDuffie's attorney
You
to
need
make a
his
trip to
attorney.
the
Well, but
take a little suitcase over to the Bahamas and do like a Hyman Roth kind of.
there should have been some kind of
something.
warning about the rocks that were there. I believe that, and
I
like
agree
I
with
said this morning with Lubie, as I was leaving, going through the airport, I was with the Mustang and her friend who celebrated her 60th birthday, the lovely cat, bartender at Spanky's, The Hog, and also Stingers, two fable local joints. She's been there for a long, long time. The customs guy is looking at me hobbling forward, and he kind of gave me that look like, "What happened to you?" And I told him, he says, happens like to 1 out of 10 people that go to that resort. They trip over these rocks and end up getting hurt, and they end up
Well, if
limping
it
back
happens
home.
to that many people, I would say class action suit. But I have no idea what the laws in the Bahamas are, if such things are even allowed.
You don't collect.
Yeah, you don't collect.
You think this
you're SOL.
This Bankman-Fried guy is getting extradited to the U.S. because he likes the conditions of the legal system in the Bahamas? His own lawyer was telling him not to agree to the extradition. But they throw him in that one prison that they have there with maggots and rats. And the next thing you know, you're ready to, tell on anybody, right? It was Mayo. It was Mayo. You're screaming before they even say, Mr. DeForest, would you like a chair?
I guess next time we've learned some lessons, and you really are the picture of self-sabotage because you were stubborn and you didn't want to go to the doctor. You don't want to take a COVID test. You don't know what the hell is going on, but you're here.
I'm going to say 100% no to COVID. And
wait. You would say, how about taking a test and knowing?
What are you, Dr. Fauci, all of a sudden? No,
he doesn't want to know.
I feel fine. I just don't have a voice. And then the guy that I sent the picture to is my doctor. And he said, try this and see what happens.
You're the opposite of my experiences with the Guy Fieri shoot last week, where he was having everybody hobnob together at the bar and then call us in for COVID tests before we got next to him because he's a selfish prick and he didn't want to make sure that he didn't get COVID. Now you're the selfish prick because you don't want to know. Like,
no, but
okay, you don't want to know.
But
if you're next to me,
worlds,
and then I'll go home to my mother, like we got to know these things.
You're the type of guy
power.
Who gets a sniffle and you assume you have pneumonia.
Well,
me, I feel like I'm fine all the time. I just do.
Did you know that as somebody who is on Medicare, you qualify for 8 free COVID kit tests a month? You can just pick them up at your store. It's so easy to do these swabs.
I have the home.
I do it like once a week.
Really?
Well, yeah, you should just do it. Rule it out. It probably is just the regular cold and crud.
That's what I believe. A big flu is going. Everybody's getting it right.
But
it's crisis.
I was a little alarmed to hear that you had a coughing jag last night. I want to make sure your oxygen levels are good. Do you have a pulse oximeter? And yes, I am a hypochondriac.
You are 100%.
I got a basket on my swimming pool. What are you talking about? Do I have this? Who's buying medical equipment for their home?
It's only $29, and you probably could get it reimbursed from one of your Cadillac health plans that you have. But
what's great about this show? We come from completely different worlds, even though we share the sporting world, and obviously a great appreciation for the local restaurants.
We're from Brooklyn. We're Jews, and
we have a lot in common, but not in healthcare. That's for sure.
No, I always want to know what's
Mayo
going
is the worst.
On. It's the old philosophical question, Defo. Is it ignorance bliss or is knowledge power? I belong in the knowledge is power camp. You are ignorance is bliss, and look where it got you. Hop along, Cassidy.
Look, I have to say for all the stuff that I've done in my lifetime, and I've been playing sports since I can remember. I mean, and on cement we would play, punch ball and slide on cement. All the basketball on cement courts and all the tennis I'm playing. I've been relatively injury free my entire life. I've had a couple of different things, but
Kanahara, knockwood, all that.
Yeah, so I never assume I'm going to be in any kind of jackpot, and if I do, something like this is a surprise. Third broken bone in my lifetime. But there's not much you can do for a toe except suck it up and then see if you can manage it.
No, I once had a very hairline fracture of my metatarsal bone, whatever it is, metacarpal, one of those bones.
Where's that,
underneath the foot? No, underneath the foot. And the guy, my orthopedist or podiatrist, whatever he was, he prescribed that big boot, and walk around lugging boot to immobilize that.
I would have accepted that if that was necessary.
And that wasn't too bad because.
Did you have to wear it to sleep and everything? Or
no, I took it off at night.
You took it off.
You're supposed to wear it to kind of immobilize that bone, and it healed up quite nicely.
Did
and
you wear it around the house? I mean, see, I have stairs in my house.
Yes,
see, I haven't been doing that. I already defied the doctor's orders.
I don't. And as Andy just notes, this Defo voice gives us a glimpse of the 2050 Defo Lubie podcast.
Yes,
and yesterday, I ruled you off the Lunchbox.
Geezers
yesterday.
At Caesars is going to be it.
Yesterday,
it was good that I missed the Lunchbox yesterday.
No, I wouldn't let you on. I gave you a hall pass because once I heard you attempt to do your morning show yesterday, I was oh my God, that was the first time I've ever heard that Defoe's voice was weirder than Lubie's, and that was a very unsettling.
That's a classic line. Yeah, no, that's hard to accomplish. Also,
95-year-old Defo still doing this.
What'd you say about the French fries? They were too greasy.
But just from my own heart, I would just love to see a hot cup of tea next to you, and you just sip it
That's not
occasionally
happening.
during the show. I think it's
I
just
do have to say this though about the chicken soup at Grandpa's. All right.
excellent.
Yeah, it was great. No, it was
Well,
great.
I mean, here's something. I'm going to get into my whole culinary detail like you do. I mean, even the celery component what was outstanding. I mean, like you could really taste every single thing that was in there. I don't
They
know how
make
they do it, how long they cook it for, but it was sensational. And I've been having a lot of chicken soup naturally over the last few days, and no matter how good it is, I keep coming back to Grandpa's and saying that might have been. Now, a lot of people love the chicken soup at Pomperdale's. I'm sure there are many places where people, have favorites, but that was as good as any that I've had any place.
And
That
it's
was
funny
fantastic.
it's funny you should mention it because I was in Grandpa's this morning because this afternoon, right after the show, I am doing my annual Hanukkah Latkes Fest for my family.
So
My
you're picking up a
brother.
bunch of latkes from
No, 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 no,
Grandpa's?
no, no,
Oh,
no.
Bring your
okay.
eggs.
Let me finish. My brother and sister-in-law are off today from the dark day at Gulfstream. My daughter is wrapping up this semester, the midterm. It's midterm week, but she had one midterm test this morning, and she's going to be able to come over later. So I make the latkes by hand at home. I got the bag of potatoes from Walmart Market for $1.50 for 5 pounds, which is
This
a
is
great
insane.
price. But for the accoutrements, which is, I get a little bit of brisket and I get a little bit of the Nova lox because I'm that hoity-toity foodie. I like putting a little sour cream and a piece of Nova lox on top of my fresh grated latkes. But anyway, I went in there and I couldn't resist. I had to pick up a quart of the matzo ball soup for my mom because she'll have that in the next couple of days too. And I took a little sip. That broth, they make their own chicken stock from chickens. You can tell because you see that layer of schmaltz, the
Yep.
fat floating
Oh,
at
I
the
thought you were
top.
going to say because of the occasional feather.
No, no, no. But I'm with you. I just couldn't
Oh,
help.
so good.
I had to take a little sip of the broth. It's outstanding. And then I kind of like mixed it around. They got the big chunks of carrots, the big chunks of celery. That you can tell they're making fresh batches every day because it's not like canned soup where it's just mush and just like it's
Oh,
like
so good.
the vegetables still have a degree of crispness and hardness
Right.
that comes with fresh soup. And then if it's simmered in a pot all day, it would get pretty soft and mushy. But when you get it there, it comes out great. I'm so looking forward to Latkes Fest, and that brings me to doing my shopping. I'm obsessive. I was the egg man, now the potato man. I'm going around comparing potato prices because it's Hanukkah, and the Walmart. I guess they every week seasonally they just want to give something away and maybe not even make a profit on it. A 5-pound bag of russet potatoes for $1.50 is about as good as you can imagine. Especially when I went to my
That's
local
really cheap.
Publix.
Yeah,
I
you
went to
could
my
go buy one potato and pay a
yeah.
buck for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At Publix, the 5-pound bag was like $6,
Ooh.
$5.99 or something. And I happened to be at of all places, the first time I've been in a long time, but a beautiful big Winn-Dixie that was out in, I guess it's either Davie or Plantation on 595 and Hiatus Road there. And, big modern place and everything there was gorgeous. Winn-Dixie that it used to be in my neighborhood was kind of old and pretty decrepit, but the one here was beautiful. But their potatoes are also, it was $5.99 for a 5-pound bag. So
Wow. Right up there with
well,
Publix. The
yeah,
gouging.
no.
Where's
So
Pam Bondi? Is she still in charge of that sort of thing? Who do we
now I
file a
have
complaint with?
I have green-eyed girl here. Judy is she had the same reaction that Mark Freed did at Grandpa's last week when he saw me piling some
Is
Nova
that a thing you
lox on
do?
top.
The thing I ate
of
like a weirdo? Like,
It's
you
something
find
that
I
I've
will say it was very, very strange. I mean, to see
is that a thing
the
you've
way
done?
they,
It's not
I
necessary.
could see why you like Cheffery's, the
Yeah, they
burgers
do a
that they
bunch of
make there,
weird
where they
combos,
put
but
like
it's good.
pot roast and a pancake and all kinds of stuff on a burger. Because in a way that you pile this stuff up on a potato
It's the
pancake, I
weird.
mean, you either use applesauce, sour cream, or nothing. Put some salt on it, and
I
that's
ate
it.
it and it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like it was a lot. It wasn't necessary.
Let me tell you about this because
It's kind of up
let
there
me
with
tell
your
you,
liverwurst
boys.
on turkey, my friend.
Well, yeah, liver on turkey is
No,
extremely
that was
weird.
way
Another
This I think makes
strange Mike. Are you
this
sure you're not Mike McDaniel with your weird quirks? You're unreal.
exactly.
this makes sense. And I got a lot of food. Listen to me. I talk
Your
real good.
English, yeah,
I used to get subscriptions to all the major food magazines,
oh wow.
and I remember what Michelle and I saw, that there was a latkes display that was in one of the gourmet magazines, and it was a recipe. Some chef would put not just sour cream, not the Breakstones or Daisy sour cream, but they would get creme fraiche, which is a kind of a much more refined French product, and you put a little smear of creme fraiche on a potato pancake, and then you layer on a beautiful piece of Nova salmon, and then you put some capers or a little piece bits of dill on top of that, and you eat that, and you have yourself a refined bite of potato with smoked salmon. It completely works, I think, food wise, but everybody just wants to make a face and say, no, that's not how you do it.
It wasn't good. It wasn't horrible. It
Well,
wasn't.
what do you
disgusting.
know about food, Mr.
But I know
Lubie?
if it's good or bad.
Put
It was
pineapple on
unnecessary.
pizza.
I don't
Nessa,
like pineapple. I use ketchup with hot dog. That's what my failing. That's my.
Nessa, you won't tell me what's Nessa. Do you remember that movie, Mel Brooks, High Anxiety? He did his
Oh yeah, the classic.
yeah. Well, he has his little therapy session with his therapist, and he says, "But doc, is that really Nessa?" And then the doctor goes, "Nessa, I'll tell you what's Nessa." So anyway, yes,
I
think
waited
put
on
it-
Mel Brooks a couple of times. He came into that Dharma Great restaurant, that Moroccan restaurant that
Really?
was popular with the Hollywood types there in Southern California, and popular with everybody. Could not have been a nicer guy. I mean, one of
I-
those guys that
Yeah.
There have been a lot of articles in the New York Post lately about good customers and bad customers in New York restaurants. I was going to forward you one of them, but I'm not sophisticated enough technically to figure out how to do that. So I was just going to take a picture of it and text it to you. But he could not have been any more gracious of a guy and any more fun of a guy to serve in a restaurant atmosphere.
He strikes me as the quintessential Brooklyn mensch, like a guy that
Real good guy.
seems like a good dude, down to earth. He went to Lincoln High School a couple of years before my parents went to Lincoln High, which is where they met in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. And Melvin Kaminsky was his original name, and then he changed it to Brooks. And he's still. I can't believe, he's still prolific. He still has a great attitude on life, and I'm glad to hear that he was a nice guy. I mean, he's just
Couldn't
he's a
have been
good
any
dude.
better, really. He was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I mean, some tables when you're a server, you can't wait to get back to because you have You were talking about this the other day, I guess last week or so on the show, where you were talking about there was an issue on Let's Eat South Florida about if the waiter comes over and says, "How we doing tonight?" How that affected you, but it is true. I mean, there's a little bit of chemistry sometimes with the server and the table. You kind of get the vibe of the table, and you want to sort of enhance that by providing service that would be commensurate with the attitude of the table, as opposed to just throwing a plate on there and saying, "Here, eat this, and here's your check."
Yeah, I believe in, you want to
And he was
have
great like that.
you
couldn't
want to
wait
have
go
an
back.
experience, a little bit of banter, a little bit of giving back and forth, and kind of you don't want to insult any customers, but you could tell which ones you could kind of like maybe have a little bit of a
You
joke.
wanted
and
to
a
let them know that they're basically cheapskates and you're not their friend. With certain guys. Because usually
know about that.
the cheapest person is the highest complimentary, person, that you're serving, and then you realize that you're going to get whacked with an 8% tip with this guy. So maybe you're not as friendly after a while. Just like, okay, hey, I had a pancakes. And
I
that's it.
told you the story, and this is the one thing that servers are never supposed to do, which is basically run after an accosted customer who's stiffed
done
you
that.
or left you the worst tip in the world. It recently happened to one of my a guy who's become a friend who works as a server he worked at a server as a server at a restaurant until he accosted a customer in the parking lot, and then he had to go find a new job. And but he's a good dude. He's another Brooklyn guy. He's a wise guy. He's not afraid to use his tongue.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reveal him here.
Sometimes you
but-
had to, depending on the situation.
Well, everybody has their breaking point. But and again, I think I told the story about my dad when he was in dental school, but he would wait on tables in the Catskills in the summertime, and or not the summertime. I guess it was a summertime job, and you would serve a family would come into the resort for like a full week. It would be a 5-day thing. It'd be like a cruise ship where you assigned your tables and you work and wait them the whole week. At the end of the week, they're supposed to give you a nice little gratuity for the service. Well, he had a group of I don't want to make any aspersions, but Quebecois, French Canadians, and at the end of the week, most people would leave, like $10, which back in the day was a nice sum. It's like $100 tip for the full week. This particular group left 10 dimes stacked neatly on the table, and
Canadian coin, also.
Canadian
Yeah,
dimes,
that's
which
really
you can't
rough.
even use
God.
in the toll booth basket. But
Yeah.
he took my dad, God bless him and God rest his soul, took the stack of dimes, went after them into as they were leaving, and said, "Excuse me, sir, I think you forgot this." And
Oh,
just
yeah. I told you who we chased down, and I'll never forget this. I can still visualize it. I was talking to Lubie about how you can visualize certain incidents in your life, and that's how you remember them. And I was working with a guy named Spencer. He was an older waiter. He'd been in a lot of different places in LA. And another guy, we were teams of three. So who did we wait on that gave us like a 3% tip? But before he had, shown that he had criminal, intent, O.J. Simpson.
ah,
And we chased the juice out to his car. We didn't really chase him, but we went out there, and as he was waiting for his car, we actually, said, "Hey, OJ, it was great serving you. What was the service all right?" And he was this, smile, Magic Johnson smile at the time. Nobody thought anything negative about OJ Simpson. He was a very, very well respected guy at that time, except for his announcing. And he looks at us and goes, "Nah, man, you guys were great, man. I'll ask for you again." And then Spencer tries to shame him, and he shows him the $5 that he left on his check, and he actually did cough over another five,
oh
which was
wow,
good. O.J.
wow,
Simpson, and then
it's
years
amazing
later,
that
obviously that story took on connotations that
didn't
really
realize that you could have taken your life in your hands by
Yeah.
doing that kind of thing.
Well,
but-
fortunately, they didn't use silverware there, so there were no knives involved in the service.
Oh man! All right, so
True story, though. I mean, I
that's
can
good.
still see myself outside this restaurant, the Dharma Greb, which looked like a Moroccan mosque, and big silver door with a dome on it, white building. A Rolls Royce pulls up every other second, and whenever they brought whatever OJ's car was up, we're standing there, hawking this guy for another five, which still was light, but it nonetheless stood out. And then years later, I thought, wow, I didn't realize the guy had a temper.
Oh, those were the days.
Exactly.
Anyway, so no, it's now considered completely verboten for any server to go after any customer and try to shame them into a better tip or anything like that. But I could understand it. I mean, I would be very upset. And my daughter is now working in the business in the service industry. She's working hard, using her forearms, scooping ice cream, and it's it's always nice when somebody drops an extra buck. Just like I this morning, they put my order together at Grandpa's. I asked Clive to slice the lox real thin. He did that, gave me some fresh, beautiful Nova. And what do? You got to throw a 10 in the tip jar at the end of the day. It's you got to
Well, it
share
works.
the guys for taking care of you.
Places I frequent, quite a bit. Sometimes you can see the influence of that, where they know you're a good sport. You're going to give them a very generous tip, and they can't wait to do enough for you, and it's a nice feeling. You feel like hey, this is really appreciated. Now, other
It's
places, you've said this before on the show, where somebody leaves a big fat tip, and not that you're looking for it, like if you do a good deed, somebody to tell you how great you are, but it's always nice when the server acknowledges that and says,
Yes,
"Thank you very much," before you get out of
it's
there.
just everybody just wants a little acknowledgement. And just
Yeah.
like if you do, if somebody is working a register or, you do leave a $20 bill after a meal that, just say, hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure
Yeah.
serving you. Come back
Well,
again
and
soon.
when you
It's
have
not that
a
hard.
small degree of fame and notoriety, like maybe you or I would here, and Lubie in town, you can't be leaving bad tips.
No,
I
it
mean,
gets
you
back.
just that's another part of it. But I'm not fueled by that. I just anybody that was in the service industry
Yep.
and worked for tips for any period of time usually is a very good tipper themselves.
No,
Usually.
and if it got back to the group that I was a lousy tipper, well, I would just delete the comment, I guess. But no, I try to be a generous tipper. But there is one case. It was a funny line. I hadn't heard it before, but when you go to a bar, what's the most annoying thing if you go someplace that's corporate? The measured shot, right?
Oh yeah, no, I hate
Oh, I
that.
hate that. I hate that
Yeah.
so much.
It was like the old
So
days at the track when they had the liquor labeled by colors.
yeah,
And then there was no way for the bartender to do any more
yeah.
than give you
It's
the
the
measured
squirt,
shot. It came
right?
down like
Because it came down the chute.
out of a
It's
little
all
dispenser.
automated.
Yeah, it was
That
ugly.
I understand. I'm not going to take it. But when you're in a place where they, like they still have the free flowing bottles, but they
Yeah.
do the measured shot. I saw a great line on the group the other day. Measured shots equal measured tips.
Exactly. I mean, isn't, but it should.
They do that at the Panther games, by the way. I mean, and I knew the
Well,
bartender. He knew me. We said hello to each other, and I thought, okay, good. This will at least be a generous pour.
Well,
And it was a generous pour for Doug Sifu and his accountants. That's for
that
sure.
guy.
Wow.
Well, and that's it. The more corporate you get, the more measured and the more they're under watch. They have video cameras now going. They have everything. I mean, used to be you get, you go to a
You should let the
bar,
bartender have a
How
little
much
license.
alcohol
Like the
you
do
DJ.
get
people
you get
drink
4
away?
drinks and you get the 5th one free. Now, if you get 4 drinks, they call you an Uber and say, "Get out of here. We don't want you as a liability anymore." So that's
Yeah.
but I still like going places where they do the measured shots, but then they measure it and then they just keep going. They pour it in and they keep the bottle going. I mean, there's little
Yeah,
tricks
you
of the
should pour
trade.
in a shot and
Nice
then
move.
a little overflow, no?
Hey, speaking of places that are generous, guess where I went last night before I
I'm going to guess
tried to
Tropical
play
Acres.
Tropical Acres. How'd you guess, Defo? I went in there for the happy hour, and I ended up getting a full-blown main course from the regular menu because I wanted to try something new. But Tropical Acres is the place to go for great value, great quality, great service. The Studi Alley family, they've been doing it a long time. The place has been open since 1949. That's older than Defo. It's at 2500 Griffin Road, just west of I-95 in the airport. And the holidays are here. Every night's a great night to go into Tropical Acres, except on Christmas Eve. They'll be closed on that Saturday, but they'll be open on Christmas Day. Now, they are filling up. The book is almost closed, but if you want to go to the reservation for their Christmas Day service from 1 to 8 p.m., holiday specials including ham, turkey, and, of course, their great prime rib, and I think they bring in the prime grade for the holidays, along with their usual menu of steaks, chops, and things. And I had a pork chop last night that was excellent. But go give them a call, 954-925-2500. A couple of spots remain on the books for the Christmas reservations. And for New Year's, they'll be open New Year's Day. I'm sorry, open New Year's Eve on Saturday, close New Year's Day. I get all confused. Go to tropicalacres.com for the complete rundown. And, of course, tonight is still half-price wine night. It's Monday, Tuesday. I went in last night for the happy hour at the bar. I saw Nick. He knows my usual. It's the Belvedere Martini with the blue cheese olives on the side. I had one of those for $7. And I also got that pork chop, and I tried for the first time the little side dish macaroni and cheese, and it was excellent. I had a great time at Tropical Acres. You will too. Go there. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
You really can't go wrong at that place. I mean, you always used to talk about it in somewhat controversial. I see no controversy there. Great place. They do a great job. They are what they say they are. Tremendous tradition.
No pretense. They're not trying to be trendy. They're not trying to be hip. They're just going to give you good value. And this pork chop, I had never had it. They put it on the menu a while back. But what they do with it is they, what's not the word, marinate it. They brine it. So it comes out like extra flavorful and tender. They grill this pork chop, broil the pork chop, but after it's been brined, at first it was like it looked kind of plain and naked. I said, "Oh, I might need a little, I don't know, barbecue sauce, steak sauce." He said, "Try it." We brine it. I took one bite of it and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect. Doesn't need anything." And it was a great new dish. And go in there. You could check out the whole menu. Plenty of things for anybody, whether you're a pescatarian. I know Mustang enjoyed her scallops. They have the fish, the salmon, other fresh fish that they broil, the shrimp scampi over pasta. But the real deal there is the prime rib, the filet mignon, all the steaks, cooked to order any way you want it. And if it doesn't come out right, don't be bashful. Tell them, "Hey, this steak isn't cooked to the way I want it." They'll whisk it back and they'll make it right. They're in the people-pleasing business, the yes business, Tropical Acres.
I haven't had a chance to really scan all the comments on the chat line here. But did we find an unscrupulous attorney yet?
No, no one's offered themselves to take your case.
Somebody, 94,000 of you out there, and let's eat.
Very difficult when you get into the international territories,
Yeah,
Defo. It's not as litigious or as friendly to litigation.
It's kind of like
in other
having
countries.
a complaint at a Native American casino.
Exactly.
There's a pretty good chance it's going to be resolved in their favor.
Exactly.
All right, more on the Lunchbox coming up. What you got?
Well, you learn your lesson, which is just stick with the pool, okay? Don't go into the water.
I love the ocean.
I'm a big ocean guy. I go in
Be
all the time.
careful.
And I live across.
No,
the
they
street
really
from the
should
ocean.
have a sign.
I love
that I think we should maybe let's
when it's a
start
common
crusade.
occurrence. It's not like there was one errant rock there. I mean, this thing was.
We don't want to own
permanently
the
there.
place. Maybe just a couple of vouchers for 3 free nights
Exactly.
for all of us to go. And
Here's
have a
my
little
problem.
Lunchbox junket, and then just say, put up a sign. We want to improve the quality of life for the future guests. That's what
Exactly.
If I feel like if I sue them, we will lose our connection to Caesar's rewards. which we
Dang.
were cashing in on, and then that would eliminate all of my future
I didn't realize they were
trips
affiliated
there.
with
Yeah,
them. Yeah, then you
yeah.
got to
So
kind of
that could be
weigh
ugly.
the pros and the
Yeah,
cons. So that's it. All right,
you get
we'll
on
be
the
back.
blacklist on the Caesars rewards.
We'll be back. I'm going to talk some more eggs, everybody's favorite topic, after these words. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans. For 30 years, they've been doing a great job. The original location, West Side, 3303 Sheridan Street, just across from TY Park in Hollywood. And there's the East Side location, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the blackened grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late in both locations. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. You like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Oh, we're back on the Lunchbox. It's a Tuesday. Defo's back. Lubie's here. And we're in the home man caves, which always is nice to get a break. But we're going to have a very active last couple of weeks of the year out on the road celebrating. I mean, gosh, we got the 8 nights of Hanukkah in the midst of. Then we're going to have the 12 days of Christmas. We got the 7 days of Kwanzaa. We got New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
That's it.
Bowl
2023
games.
is shot.
It's gone.
It's gone.
And then, we're going to have the college football playoffs on New Year's Eve, too. That's going to be exciting. And let me just run down the schedule real quick because I hope that you could hobble out to some of these, Defo.
Well, I'm going to be inspired by our good friend Norm Kent. Who,
look at
was
him.
Part of the reason that the show got started, first as a radio entity. Unfortunately, one man gathers what another man spills. He was leaving the slot and it was offered to us. And he is inspiring me. They told him not to lay in bed and vegetate. He had brain surgery, for God's sake. Who knows what the timeline is for, his time left on the planet. Hope it's a long one, but he's out skiing. He's doing anything in a wheelchair. I mean, he put skis on a wheelchair and he's going down a mountain. I love that.
him and his roommates, John. I mean, they loaded up the van, and the story of the Norm, and forgive me for a second, but Norm is a local legend. There's a lawyer. I don't know if you I don't know if
I
you've
don't know
seen.
how
Well,
unscrupulous he is.
state
He was defending the public's
outsiders.
honor, and not sure
He
he
would.
wants to get into a case. But this is a legitimate
He's
case. I
he's
mean, I
he's
was
big
injured,
into
and there should have
civil
been a warning.
rights. I
Yes.
think, I don't know if
Civil
he's still
rights, yes.
practicing since he got, since he's been sick, but he's, for the last year, just a cancer, just he's been fighting not just a good fight, he's fighting a great fight, and he is living every day, and he originally got this van last year to go around to every major league ballpark. And that was even before he got sick. He just wanted to do this as a bucket list item. And right in the middle of it, he took a fall. Next thing you know, he's getting diagnosed. He had something going on in his brain, and then it's basically pancreas. And he's been going through all these different surgeries and recoveries. And he's using my mom as inspiration because, God bless B. Mayo, also cancer warrior, 5 years, going on 5 years with
Nice.
a diagnosis that, back in the day, a lot of people would have said would have been lucky to be alive after 6 months or a year. So the strides that they're making in terms of treatments and surgeries and all the things to combat it, it's really incredible. And Norm is going out in that van, and he was going up the Blue Ridge Highway. And I think the last pictures I saw was him like skiing at
He
some
was on a
point
ski lift in a wheelchair. It was incredible. Uh,
in West Virginia, of all places. I hope
yeah,
I hope he makes it out alive, not because of his health condition, just because when you're in West Virginia,
that's the way
as
to do it, though.
as
I mean,
a gay Jewish lawyer from South Florida who
Exactly.
if
advocates
you're
for.
up against the end of the show, as we say in our perception of life, make sure you get a lot of stuff in at the end there, and that's the way to go. One of my favorite movies. I'm sure you appreciate this movie. I love the movie Papillon with Steve McQueen, Dustin
Yes.
Hoffman. I think it's just an all-time classic. Up there is one of the great message about life movies that you could ever watch. And what does Papillon do when he gets thrown into solitary after a failed escape attempt? He immediately starts measuring how much room he has to be able to do whatever he can to sustain his life, even under the most compromising and horrific of circumstances. And that's what you have to do. I mean, you can't just sit there. So, hopefully you won't hear me making a lot of excuses. I mean, I have to learn how to manage with this thing, but it is
When
it's
life
so
hands you
inhibiting. Yeah.
yeah, when life hands you lemons, make vodka and lemonade. That's my
Exactly.
expression. So, that's good for Norm. So, okay, let's go over the upcoming schedule. Tomorrow, we're going to be at Even Keel Fish Shack and doing our end of year celebration with Brad and Dave, and we're going to be also talking with them about the upcoming Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival because they're taking part both in the grand tasting and the special dinner that Paula De Silva is hosting over at the Burlock Coast, the Ritz-Carlton Fort Lauderdale Beach Hotel. And
Nice.
that dinner is taking place, I believe it's the Thursday night, the 12th, and there's still availability for that. But that whole gang, Paula De Silva, Brad, Jeremy Ford, who now has gone on to Michelin stars and stuff, Jeremy's not taking part in this dinner, but they all met and started working under the great, it was at the Marriott Harbor Beach Hotel under Dean James Max, and that whole group, Paula and friends, is going to be doing that dinner. And I want to tell people that it's going to be a special night, and then also the grand tasting is going to be great because those guys at Even Keel are going to take part. That's on Saturday, January 14th. So I urge everybody to go to vlfoodwine.com for the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival and get the foodies in your life what will make a great stocking stuffer, which is tickets to some of those events. And the big three events, the cocktail competition on Wednesday night, January 11th, the Smithfield Barbecue Battle that is going to be at the Hyatt Centric Hotel in Fort Lauderdale on Friday the 13th in the evening, and then the grand tasting is going to be on January 14th. All three of those ticketed events, go get your tickets, vlfoodwine.com, enter the promo code Lunchbox to get an extra 15% off the already low price. Lunchbox code, get the low price tickets, stuff the stockings, stuff your stomach. Again, the big time festival coming up right after the holidays. It's going to be a lot of fun. And on that Sunday, it's going to be family friendly day at that beachfront park there at Las Olas and A1A. No entry fee, no tickets. It's going to be kinds of cooking demonstrations and activities for the whole family. And they will have food trucks and other things selling food that day. So that's a nice way to wrap up the week. Visit Lauderdale Food Wine, vlfoodwine.com.
Nice event. It really is. I mean, I only went to the one thing with you last year, the barbecue battle. And it was very well run. You know, my philosophy was about food festivals and things like that.
Yes, you were a little
But it was not
standoffish.
favorable.
Yeah.
I'd been to a zillion of them, over the years, always invited, to different things. And, I stopped going to food and wine festivals because I usually walked away sort of disappointed that I didn't really get much to eat. And the offerings to drink weren't all that favorable. Fantastic. Well run, under control. There wasn't a massive amount of people, but, it was obviously, well attended, sold out. And the food offerings were terrific. They really were all the way around.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously we're blessed with all kinds of activities and festivals around town. Palm Beach just had their food festival earlier this month. Obviously, the granddaddy of them all, the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, coming up at the end of February.
Now, are
But
you a
those are-
celebrity down there at the South Beach one? Are
I
you
used
like
to be
a-
when I was somebody when my
when you were a
face
contender. Yeah.
when my face hung up in the kitchens of all those newly opened restaurants, and they had bounties on. If you see this man, you'll get $200. Because I was actually reviewing restaurants for a major publication.
Is
and,
a fish called Avalon still there on South
It is.
Beach?
I believe
Yeah,
it is.
wow.
Yes.
They
I
were
don't
like
know
one
if
of
they
the
still have the
originals.
medallions of swordfish, but
Oh my God!
I know where you stand on medallions. That's a word that you hate as much as
It means
market
minuscule.
price.
It really does. I mean, it's worse than market price. Market price, at least you're paying a price, and you're figuring it's
Means we're
going to
going
be a
to
high
cut
one.
them into
Yeah.
chunks that are so measured down to the micromillimeter or whatever you measure, ounces, down to the ounce. It's like
there.
What a
measuring the
mistake, yeah.
shots.
What a mistake.
Measured medallions equals measured tips. Same thing. Measured
Medallions
shots.
are my. You see people, they come off boats here, recreational fishermen. They got these giant, a dolphin or mai that they catch, and then you get the medallions of mai, and it's like, what fish was that? Shouldn't they have thrown that one back? I mean,
Yeah,
been
didn't
close to
make
the legal limit. What are you
the
talking
weight
about? Here?
requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh no, but anyway, down there, South Beach. The nice part of the Visit Lauderdale, it's a growing thing. It just started a few years ago. Kate and Phil are really good people. They, started off cutting
Good
their
stuff.
teeth in the promotions racket for the Air and Sea show back in the day, and now they've started this their own thing, and it's growing every year, and it's the right size and the right price. I mean, some of the events, not to disparage any other things, but you need to take out a second mortgage to go to some of the events in South Beach. Here, they're keeping things, right price. You can get to it's still the double digits to get into the big events. And that's the right price in this day and age. And you get good value at that grand tasting. There's going to be, I think, over 40 local restaurants, and there's going to be all kinds of good stuff there. So I am putting in the good word for it. It's one of those, it's going to be gorgeous weather outdoors, middle of January. It's usually always pristine and perfect that time of year. So more power to them. I'm really looking forward to all that. I'm also looking forward to getting my knuckles dirty soon. I'm hopefully not scraping them off because I don't know about you, but I think we talked about this earlier, but I'm big on holiday traditions. And, it started with my grandmother who would basically grate her own potatoes and make potato latkes. I remember that very vividly, being a young child in Brooklyn, and it's something that my mom.
What's your
did.
secret ingredient? Do you have one? I mean, is there something that nobody else puts in it that you put in
The
it?
blood of my left the forefinger, because usually I
you could
scrape
peel
that on the-
potatoes, Mayo.
No,
Come
no,
on, get out of here.
No, the secret ingredient is love. Everybody knows that.
Nice. Can't believe that, Louie. Go to a break. Throw right to a break. This guy's lost his whole perspective on things. I did want to mention something I saw on Let's Eat South
Go
Florida,
ahead.
because I blow by this place almost as a matter of routine every day. And it used to be a gas station. It's a new restaurant in the area, Flamingo Seafood. And it was a gas station just over the bridge on Atlantic Boulevard, sort of near where the foundry is, across the street, kind of. There's a whole complex food court supposed to open up that for some reason has not yet, even though it looks like the building's been ready for a year or so. They've been working on that forever. But this Flamingo Seafood apparently is an actual restaurant. You would never know to look at it on the outside. There's no indication there's a restaurant there. And a lot of people are saying that the food is great. I don't know if that's just people that are associated with the restaurant that are members of the group, but It looks pretty good. I don't know. Did you see the pictures?
There's all kinds of places opening up now. It's that time of year, peak season, and I want to get up there and check out some of those new places. I still got to get up there and check out the Indian restaurant up there.
Oh
what's
yeah,
the name of
Deck and
that?
Spice. Deck and
Yeah,
Spice.
maybe we should do. They open for lunch. I'd love to get in
Yes,
there and do a show.
yeah, and we can arrange that. Shaker was very interested, the owner,
Okay,
in
great.
in
Yeah,
having us in there.
and that fits in with the whole, Necky and the Visit Lauderdale
Bring
diversity.
an advertising contract with you because I think he'll come on board.
Oh,
No,
we
no,
always
that's
like
not
to
the
hear
reason
that.
we're going to. No, they really. I don't know Indian food well enough to say that this compares favorably with other places, but I do like spicy food. I do like that type of thing,
Not all
and
Indian has to be spicy. It's flavorful. It has
it
uses
wasn't
different
so overwhelmingly
spices.
spicy.
Yeah,
That is true,
and,
but it could be,
and
I guess, if you wanted it that way.
yeah, and my daughter now is on this total like infatuation with butter chicken, and butter chicken is not a spicy dish. I mean, you can
Yeah.
make them. You could ask
It's a
them to prepare
flour,
it
yeah.
spicier, but just in its kind of neutral form, default form,
sweet.
butter chicken is kind of mellow. It's a combination of tomato and some herbs and ghee, which is the Indian clarified butter, and it's a very mellow and savory dish that you put over the basmati rice. And now my daughter wants to apparently sample every butter chicken in Broward County, and we've been
Well,
going
head to
around
Deck and
doing it.
Spice. I bet
So
they
I
have a good
want to
one.
get up to Deck and Spice. We can do a lunch show there, and then I'll bring back some butter
And
chicken
it's
for
right
my
by a
daughter.
Walmart, so you can pick up some eggs.
Oh, well, yeah, that gets me to the eggs because, it's just fascinating. It's not fascinating me. It's kind of alarming and troubling to me the way that anytime anybody posts about eggs on the Let's Eat group now, it gets not just thousands of views, tens of thousands of views. I mean, the original post that I did, comparison price shopping between my local Publix and the Walmart, that was pegged to the Eggland's Best Eggs, got over 100,000 views and
Get out
like
of here.
500
There's not that many
shares.
people on the site.
No, but it goes to other people on
Viral, it
Facebook
goes out,
Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
because we're a public and open to anybody Facebook group. The post can get shared amongst people. Anybody can see it,
Ah.
and that's why it got
So, like the
I
Mike Zito fan club is also seeing these posts. That's what you're
yes,
saying.
it could be.
Good,
Yeah.
Great.
But last I checked, it was like 105,000 views and thousands of comments. But then just lately, other people have been chiming in and sending pictures of eggs, and they all are getting this huge amounts of interest. And I guess it's just something that eggs are universal and they hit everybody in the pocketbook. And there was this bird flu, this avian flu, that kind of wiped out a lot of chickens and a lot of the egg laying population, which it's supply and demand. I guess the thing that we haven't figured out is, while other places, and I was in this Winn-Dixie this morning. Now, the price of their Eggland's Best eggs were $3.90 as opposed to Publix being $6.25,
Man.
and Walmart $1 cheaper, $2.92. So Walmart obviously has both the buying power and the capacity to just absorb, I guess.
And
not
they
as
have their
much-
own chickens. That's the key.
Well, the thing here,
It's
and
like
here's-
Kirkland brands at Costco. They have their own stuff.
Well, the Eggland's Best is a national brand, but obviously they might have different pricing contracts with different major supermarkets. So, but the Eggland's Best make for a good comparison between how the different stores price them. But what I found interesting is that, like, the house brand at Winn-Dixie, which I don't even know what it's called, but it's like Kirkland at Costco. But those were also on. The large eggs were pushing $6. It was like $5.85 for their generic store brand. Same league as Publix. So here my theory, and this is based on no reporting, but I just think that Eggland's Best, a national brand, has their own stock of chickens. They have these long-term contracts with farmers to give them first dibs on the eggs, so they're always assured of a supply. But then when there's a squeeze, when something like the avian flu happens, then the little guys and the generic ones from these regional supermarkets get the short end of it, and their supply dries up and they have to raise the prices because it's economics 101. This is fascinating stuff, but this is my
Well,
London
it's
School of
weird though,
Economics.
because people always ask, like if gas is 3 cents difference somewhere, are you going to drive 6 miles out of your way to pick up, the 3 cents per gallon on the price? You're saving like maybe 50 cents on the tank,
Right.
But I mean, I'm seeing gas stations now. I mean, I saw as low as $2.89 yesterday.
I paid
on my ride to market.
$2.87 yesterday. I was
Yeah,
so
and-
excited.
But there are
Yeah.
still stations that have it like at $4.99.
Right.
And you're thinking, what are they? Are they just fronts for some like
Yes.
drug
They're money launderers.
Cartel?
Every
I mean,
time I pass that
There's
has that
no, that
one
can't be.
station
Who's going to
on
pay
Powerline
$4.99?
Road,
Yeah.
Powerline and McNabb. They're still charging $4.99 a gallon for regular, and I'm like, that's got to be just like a money laundering operation, or they're just selling a lot of
Something, right?
cartridges of the whatever you call it. But the so people obsess about gas prices. People obsess about egg prices. I don't know why they don't obsess about the price of coffee at Starbucks. They have no compunction about just spending $8.95 on some mixed flavored coffee drink, but they're getting all up in arms about spending an extra 20 cents on a gallon of gas somewhere. So people are strange. So that's
I
it.
like when the
Hey,
Starbucks guy, you order a regular cup of coffee, and he gives you that
They
male
get
look.
you so weird. They look at you
Like,
so.
I just like a large coffee. And the guy's like, well, hey, Lo, look at this guy.
Yeah,
Some clown wants a large coffee. Do we serve
weird
that? It's crazy. And
They
then
really do. They look at you like you're a weirdo. I'm like, I just
they
want
ask you if
coffee.
you want room for cream, and then they only give you half a cup. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's bad. Hey, we got to put in the good word for Nikki Mohan, our friends at Visit Lauderdale. We're wrapping up the year. I'm trying to
Where
firm up the
is Nikki
details.
Mohan? When is she going to be on the show?
Well, she was on just last Friday, if you remember.
Okay, I remember that. Oh,
Was
great.
your head so cloudy from the COVID?
was
that
there.
I
you
was
don't
fine
testify?
last
Okay.
Friday. I mean, I couldn't walk, but I was, feeling okay.
Yeah, we saw
This
her.
is not COVID, though, Mike Mayo. I will bet you whatever you owe us from the last bet that you lost, that this is not
The
COVID-19.
last time a friend of mine bet that, he ended up having COVID. I ended up in the hospital, and he ended up owing me $100. So be careful. But just take a test. All right. So Nikki Mohan,
You
hopefully
still owe us lunch at the Fish Shack, as I recall.
I do. You do.
Yeah.
You something for the Panther bet. I owe a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, didn't we go to Tropical Acres? What was the Tropical
Oh,
Acres?
we went to the
Oh yeah,
Acres.
we did go to the Acres. Fish
Yeah,
Shack.
I'm
you were
not sure
supposed
which
to
bet
take
that
me.
was that you lost. I mean,
We
no,
owed
I
him
think-
and he owed us, and we like
Yeah,
nixed
You
I
bet
think
something
you
else.
you owed me the Fish Shack. I owed you.
Oh,
to
maybe.
Acres,
Okay, well, then we
and,
won't be
uh,
going there
and
anytime
we
soon.
wanted to make it Anthony's Runway 84, and a good thing
Yeah.
we didn't, because it's still not open. They have
Oh,
announced,
yeah?
I think,
Wow.
a late January opening date finally for Anthony's Runway 84.
How angry is Anthony Bruno about this? Is he all right?
You know, he can absorb a month loss of revenue, but it was a big month. They were hoping to get open before the holidays, so
Yeah,
but,
wow. How
looking
popular
forward
would
to
they
that.
be?
Hey, so anyway, Nikki, I'm trying to button down the Argentine place on Las Olas for Thursday, waiting to hear back from the guy. I went in there yesterday. He said he can't do it because his English isn't so good. He's trying to get the chef to do it. It's the chef's day. It's all these rigmarole. So I'm going to find out. If not, we'll go to Plan B. But anyway, Greater Fort Lauderdale welcomes everyone under the sun, and whether it's the Argentine place and they're all giddy from the World Cup victory, or the Indian Deck and Spice place, there is no shortage of flavors and diversity here. And that means it's a paradise for all you foodies out there, culinary explorers, cocktail connoisseurs, craft beer aficionados. Come one, come all, get ready to savor every flavor and every moment, because we've got dockside dining with breathtaking views, lively cafes along Las Olas Boulevard, award-winning chefs like Tim and Baloo at the Catherine, and they're going to be taking part in the food festival too with one of the intimate dinners. Every cuisine is imaginable is available here, and there's more than 4,000 restaurants just waiting for you. So come stay and play in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and don't forget the nightlife. We got things like all the local breweries, the Visit Lauderdale Ale Trail, hidden speakeasies, rooftop bars, expert mixologists serving up great cocktails. It's a never-ending celebration in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's invited. So for more information about the latest events and deals and promotions, go to visitlauderdale.com.
I do have to say, just to add on to that note, I'm kind of Horace Greeley, in reverse. I don't like to go west that much when I'm in South Florida, but having to travel to the doctor yesterday in the Margate area, a zillion restaurants. I mean, on the various, locations that I passed, you would need several lifetimes to try all of the different stuff that's available here in South Florida. It's really fantastic.
You got to just do like never-ending grazing, which my life feels like sometimes. So, hey, let's do the last break, and then we'll come back to wrap up this edition of the Lunchbox. People come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial. serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans. For 30 years, they've been doing a great job. The original location, West Side, 3303 Sheridan Street, just across from TY Park in Hollywood. Then there's the East Side location, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late in both locations. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox, and I'm getting ready for Latkes Fest. Peace, love, and Latkes. And they asked about the ingredients. I'm a guy, I use flour instead of matzo meal, and it's just the potatoes, a lot of onions. Scott is right on the chat line. For every potato that you grind, then you do an onion for about 30 seconds and get it nice and flavored. And the eggs, the flour, the onions, the potatoes, a little bit of salt, and white pepper is a key. And you just fry them up and have yourself a good old time. You don't have to put the smoked salmon on it. I don't want to make anybody all crazy. It's my foodie palate getting crazy.
You may as well put peanut butter on it. It's just as incongruous.
No, not really. Peanut butter is not as good or refined or goes as perfectly with fried potato as a beautiful piece of delicious smoked Nova salmon straight from Grandpa's, straight from the Acme Smokehouse in Brooklyn. Try it. You might like it, but then again, you probably won't because you have no taste.
No, those kind of things don't turn me on.
I tried it. Don't do it.
All right. Well, for those who are more traditional, I also got some brisket and gravy on the side. So we'll have some brisket and gravy, some green beans, and some
Now, what
potatoes.
day is this taking place? Because
Right now at 1:30 at my house.
yeah,
As soon
okay.
as we go off the air, I'm going to start grading, and my brother's supposed to be here at 1:30, and we're going to have
so
a
he'll probably
mid.
show up at 2. No,
Yeah, exactly. He's on the island time. He'd be
Yeah.
perfect working for Bahamas Air.
Bahamas
so.
Air, if you have time to spare. Fly Bahamas Air.
That's my favorite slogan ever.
They joke about the pilot said that to me.
Oh man!
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go cook up a batch of good
All right,
old.
good luck,
latkes.
man. Don't
Yeah,
do
no.
anything crazy.
So see you mañana at Even
You
Keel.
too. You too. And hot tea with lemon, Defo, please.
just
Chicken soup. I want to get something. I wish you had been able to gold belly me some of that chicken
I
soup.
tell you
from
what, I'm going up
Grandpa's.
to
Man, that
Even
was
Keel
good.
tomorrow. Are you going to be at the Keel? I could bring a quart.
I'm gonna try and
from-
make it. I have to see how well I can navigate things, and but I'm planning on being.
That's
there.
a no. I'm putting him on the
He's
injury
not
list.
gonna
as
be
No,
there.
that.
I tell you what, because I want you to secretly nudge Brad and say something about how good the fish and chips are.
Yeah,
I'm kinda hoping to
fish and
get
chips
another
is
batch
my
back, yeah.
move for tomorrow. Yeah, good for you,
Yeah.
Defo.
You know we've had
expect
it
to get
there
a
already?
batch- How are you going to get a batch? Like you want him to Uber Eats it to you?
No, I'm planning on going down there. I actually have to take a ride
Oh.
tomorrow morning to do some take care of some business.
So I'm
And I have
upgrading
to
you
get
to
used. I
Prime.
have to get used to the shoe a little bit, so I'm going to experiment with it a little bit today.
Okay, it's close
Yeah.
enough to home. So so the injury report officially for tomorrow is Defo is
Questionable.
probable.
I am probable.
I'm gonna give him
It's questionable.
probable. It sounds
Probable. It's not a long schlep. It's like a walk across
Depends
the
on the
street. I
voice,
should
and
be
the
able to
voice
make
does sound like it's getting stronger. I just wish you.
Voice is going to be 100% by tomorrow.
Hot tea
I'm
would be
almost
nourishment
confident of that. Yeah.
All right, we've gone over today, but there is no over. We're
Oh.
on the streaming sites, and the
Yeah,
streaming.
and we're not Howard Stern, so I like to keep to the times. That's just my way.
Yeah, you're so old.
Lubie knows I'm always very time conscious in
Yes.
terms of keeping to the format when we were doing radio for 12 years.
Yes, definitely. You
The
and the
whole
phone.
Program
world,
director
Defo.
would come in with her hair looking like Don King.
If you
Say,
go a little
"Would you
over,
go to a break?"
format.
not the end of the world. All right, guys, rest up, heal up, and we'll talk tomorrow. And remember, everybody out there, to enjoy every latkes and every sandwich.